Yesterday in the United States and the United Kingdom, we celebrated Father's Day. Yay, daddies! I'm sure that was also a holiday in several other countries too. So wherever you are in the world, I hope that yesterday you took time, or today you took time to think about and say thanks to the people who raised you, whoever they may or may not be, and whatever sex and gender they may or not may have. Just woohoo for community. However, in honor of the occasion, I am going to be rambling down a little side path, if you will, requested by my father. So, here we go. Charlie, this one's for you. I'm Rebecca Farnum, this is Ramblings with Rebecca, and today, the 5 things that I think every Christian entering college in America should do while they're in college. Number 1, go to a service that differs drastically from the one that you grew up in, and find God there. So if you went to a super urban church of like 500 people, find one of like 10, find a community of 10 people and go worship with them. If you grew up in a country church of 40 and you called everyone grandma or grandpa and aunt or uncle, go to a mega church of like 400 where you're not possibly going to know everyone's name. And worship with them. If you grew up in a more evangelical church, go to a freakishly, scarily, terrifyingly liberal congregation. If you grew up in a more liberal denomination or congregation, go to an ultra-conservative evangelical megachurch that terrifies the crap out of you and worship. Find God there. Instead of spending the service going, no, you're wrong, and here's all the ways that you're misunderstanding this and mistranslating this, and no, how can you possibly think this? Find God there. Figure out where there is worship happening there for you. Look for the moments where connections with God are happening for other people. And just take a time to try and, reflect and value on that particular form of worship. By all means, afterwards, go have coffee and tell someone else what was wrong with the service that you went to. But while you're there, focus on trying to be there in worship and find God. Number 2, find a verse in the Bible that you despise, that you desperately, desperately wish were not in the Bible, that you want to tear out of the book, and figure out why it's there. Explore its context historically, who wrote it, why is it there, why did it get put in the Bible, if it's one of those books that kind of got put in or almost pulled out, that kind of thing. Who does like the verse? Can you find anyone who does like the verse? Why does it speak to them? Is there some kind of value in the verse? Is there something you can take away from it? Or do you really, really just want to pull it out because it's wrong? And if so, figure out why. And talk to several people about that and see if they agree. And number 3, some of these are very text-based, I'm sorry. I'm an academic. Okay, number 3, read some Torah, Quran, Sutras, Vedas, some kind of religious text that you didn't grow up centrally with, and listen to God speak to you through those texts. And perhaps if you're feeling daring, learn a little bit about the people for whom that is a more central text and figure out what they do with it, what it means to them, what they understand its context to be, the ways that they center worship or don't center worship around their texts, that kind of thing. Number 4, identify your favorite verse in the Bible and learn its context, and perhaps try and figure out why it's your favorite. Did it get you through a really rough time? Is it the favorite verse of someone else who's very important to you? Is it one of those that everybody knows and that everyone can recite with you and you love that community aspect? Is it one of those kind of hidden gems that very few people would ever pull out when, or like think of as, one of the Bible verses that they know or associate with? And yeah, so identify your favorite verse. If you don't have a favorite verse, try and find one. Number 5, think about your faith at the beginning of high school and now. And think about how it's changed. Walk through things that are good changes for you, things that are bad changes for you. Talk it over with a pastor, a professor, a student, a colleague, your parent, your roommate, whomever. Talk through what your faith is doing, how it's changed in the past 4 to 6 years, how you want it to change or don't change in college, and just figure out your religious worldview and what's brought you to that point and where you want it to go. So there's your 5 things that I think every Christian should do while they're in college.